Good afternoon, Wrestling Inc. Get up, get going. Happy Monday. It is time to get another wild week of professional wrestling going here. I am your managing editor of WrestlingInc.com, Nick Hausman, joined here as I am every Monday to get the week going right. It's our very good friend, Michael Wiseman. Michael, welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily.
Got to get limber and ready for the week ahead, you know?
Yeah, well, it's going to be busy. You know, we are on the road to Madison Square Garden this weekend and AEW Revolution this weekend. But on the other side of that, it is full speed ahead to WrestleMania. We have some big WrestleMania news to get to here today and rumors, news and rumors. Later on in the show, we're going to dive into the mailbag with everybody. We're going to look at a possible Ricochet WrestleMania match. Why would we bring that up? I'll tell you in the mailbag. Also, of course, before we get going, well, first I want to remind everybody that the chat room is open wherever you're at. You could go and join the conversation, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you may be at watching this show. Go over, leave a comment here like Rayanne, who actually I'm really glad this is our first comment here. I'm glad this was the first one. He said, "Hey, Nick and Weissman, hope you're doing well. Did you guys get to read the Punk Esquire article? It's really emotional and moving. Plus, MJF, Schmuck of the Earth, is pulling a swerve on Phil at Revolution." Okay, I don't know about the second part, but did you read the CM Punk Esquire?
I have not. No.
Man, I took 20 minutes to get through it this morning, but I read the whole thing. Very lengthy. It is it's honestly the most real take from top to bottom I've heard on what the past 10 years for CM Punk have been like. He's involved in it. He gave some comments. And I'm told, because again, like I know all of Punk's family and friends here in the Chicagoland area, but his brother, who in the piece, it's acknowledged that these two don't talk. He confirmed this whole story that, I guess he stole some money from an indie fed, when that Punk and him started in the 90s together with some friends, but then he paid everybody back, and everybody except Punk has taken his apology. And so it's a very sad story. That gets talked about. The falling out of his friendship with Colt Cabana over the trial with Dr. Amon, that gets talked about.
It looks like it's called the Fall and Rise of CM Punk, right? By Dan Sinker.
It is a very good piece of writing. It's very well done. Punk himself has gone out on Twitter and praised it. Rayanne, thank you for starting off our comments here today with that observation, because it's not on my run sheet. It's not really news, but it's very well done, and it deserves some praise. So we'll start off the show with a positive thing like that.
All right, I'm in. I got it bookmarked. I will read it after the show today.
Leo Pereira, happy Monday. Nicholas, my plant friend, good afternoon. Nick and Michael, thank you all so much for the well wishes. It's a crazy time for the world. Once again, I'd like to start the show off by sending out our thoughts to the people of Ukraine. It is not letting up over there. To all of our listeners from Ukraine or anyone in that area, thank you for your patronage. I hope we've brought a smile to your face when you need it, but we know things are very, very bad over there, and I just have to let you all know from the bottom of all of our hearts, we are thinking about you here on the Wrestling Inc. Daily and at WrestlingInc.com in general.
Thoughts and prayers. Y'all are some tough sons of bitches over there, and I admire the hell out of everything y'all are doing, but it's just a tough time.
And it did a lot of traffic over the weekend. I'm not going to put it in the formal news section, but Kane had a really bad take. I'll not mince words about what's going on in Ukraine at the moment. Props to AEW World Champion Hangman Page for then linking to some Ukrainian relief charities and a video of 10 times Kane took really nasty chair shots to the head. Chef's kiss. It was very well up down,
And Sean Waltman also out there with the great tweet on the X-Pac firing the flamethrower into Kane's face from a segment on SmackDown. So
yes. So Sean, look, hey, you say something dumb, this is what's gonna happen. So anyway, we're thinking of you, everybody in Ukraine, obviously. But let's get to some fun pro wrestling stuff here today. News you can use, news to leave a bruise. You all right with your microphone there? I hear you.
Let's do it. I'm just messing around. I got like this. I didn't sleep well last night. I'm into the news. I drank my Coke Zero today.
It's touching it. I can hear when you touch it.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
It's bugging me. All right, news you can use, news that will leave a bruise. This actually, I don't even know if it's up on the site yet. So that's why we're going to lead with it here, because it just came out. Cody Rhodes, he shared this Instagram stories post featuring lyrics from Bob Seger's Turn the Page. I'm going to sing the lyrics right now for everybody. And you always seem outnumbered. You don't dare make a stand. Here I am on the road again. There I am up on the stage, and here I go playing star again. There I go. Turn the page. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that is Bob Seger's Turn the Page. A lot of fans interpreting the timing of this particular Instagram stories post to coincide with maybe Cody turning the page to the next part of his career. You know, he's going to go playing the star again, maybe tonight on WWE on Monday Night Raw. Do you draw that comparison? You think he's just playing with everybody? What are you thinking here?
Throw a little song back at you here, Nick. Whoa, you're only smoking mirrors. Whoa.
Hey.
I like to think that Cody Rhodes thinks everything is the most dramatic thing to ever happen in his life. Listen, I get it. The guy he's classic pro wrestling. Wrestling is art. Wrestling is life. It is everything in the world. I don't feel like tweets like this or stories like this on Instagram, they're a little bit melodramatic, and it's his career, it's his life. He should do that shit, right? But I don't think it's going to have the same kind of impact that it did whenever he left WWE and he had his list of opponents and he went out there and did those dream matches and kind of changed the face of pro wrestling by leaving WWE and doing his own thing. Stuff like this, it's fun and all. I think he's making a big deal about his return. The thing is, a month from now, if he does return tonight, so it's not going to feel this dramatic anymore.
I don't know, man. Well, I do think there's something to it here, right?
Sure.
I think there's maybe. I mean, Cody doesn't like to leave the fans hanging, right? If anything, whenever there's a moment where Cody can deliver to the fans, he puts his body on the line to the point that he over delivers, right? Like
lights his back on fire. He will jump off the top of a steel cage.
Literally will murder himself, kill himself to satiate the fans if that is what they would like to see, right?
Yes.
I don't see Cody like leaving any. I think there's something to it. I don't think he'd be doing this just to not have anything come of it at all. Whether or not it's like directly linked to tonight, or we're gonna get more lyrics throughout the week leading into SmackDown. Who knows? I don't know.
I mean, we've got to be building towards Saturday. They've already announced on Raw last week this big Madison Square Garden WWE World Championship match happening Saturday night. I know we've already got the contract signing in the books for WrestleMania for title versus title, but Paul Heyman teased Bobby Lashley, if not Bobby Lashley, an equitable opponent.
Sure.
I got a feeling we've got to get something from that on tonight, or is that just strictly a ticket mover? Is that just we got to sell more tickets in MSG?
I think, I think they're going to make an announcement tonight. I don't know. I feel like maybe they'd keep it to the last second at Madison. The whole Bobby Lashley thing doesn't really intrigue me. It's really won't he? It just seems like a curtain to hide something else that's going on. Maybe we do get Lashley versus Lesnar, but I feel like Lashley's like legit injured right now. It probably is not going to deliver on this match. I could be very, very wrong.
So we got that coming up this week is kind of this weird speed bump on the road to WrestleMania. So I believe, right? The rumor is Austin's going to come back. That's still floating out there. There's all these other crazy rumors we'll get to here in a minute. And if we're going to have Cody Rhodes, you got to bring him back. I mean, I'm surprised we've not seen Austin yet, if he's going to be one of your marquee names on the card, but you've got to bring Rhodes back if he's wrestling for WrestleMania. I believe if we don't see Rhodes tonight, we're not going to see him until the Raw after WrestleMania.
I'm wondering if they're going to like CM Punk us with Steve Austin for Mania, which is to be like, we're going to create the worst kept secret in all of professional wrestling. We're going to have Kevin Owens going out there every week, ragging on Texas, building to a promo where he's like at WrestleMania, like, why is nobody fighting me? Who are all these weak ass Texans? Cannot one of you get drunk enough to muster up the courage to get in here with Kevin Owens? Is there no one here from Texas that will fight me? Right?
I hate that. But here's the deal, right?
That's how it feels like it's going to be. Right?
They did that with Cena Taker. What is it? 4 years ago. Oh man, dream matches never happened. John Cena comes out and challenges. Doesn't happen. The night of WrestleMania, they make the match. It goes all of 2 minutes. Cena gets squashed. They move on. There was nothing to that. Also, you're trying to move tickets for this huge arena for 2 nights. Why would you leave money? I know they have their business strategies, right? But Austin is going to cause people to get on a damn plane and fly to Texas for the show. Why would you not pre-announce that? I'm with you. I'm afraid they're waiting. You hit that 4-week window, people are not going to travel because plane tickets go up, and therefore you got to get him on there tonight, or otherwise, what's the point?
Well, and that's the thing is like you would think if they wanted to tell a story with Austin, we would have got something last week, maybe tonight. I guess on the other side of the garden, you could do a short 4-week run. But as time goes by, the window for something tangible to build to this thing gets smaller, and the chances of it just becoming like Steve Austin coming out kicking the crap out of Kevin Owens one night only WrestleMania becomes more likely to me. I just don't know where you like. It feels weird. It would feel weird to insert him tonight or next week, as it would feel weird to fit Cody in tonight or next week, because we only have like 5 weeks to build to whatever they're going to be doing on this show.
Well, and the two are different too, right? With Austin, if you're paying him this big money payday to get him to come back for one more match, I would think you want to capitalize on that, unless he's been like, no, I'm not traveling. But again, you can do promos or pre-tapes or whatever, right? But with Cody Rhodes, he's going to be a part of the main roster, traveling around, doing all that stuff. It's not as time sensitive that he gets out there for a WrestleMania match, and they might be like, oh, we're good. But then again, Cody Rhodes kind of going out there and teasing it every Monday. I don't know. Maybe it's part of Vince's master strategies to build up all this hype so we watch Raw expecting something and get nothing in return, as opposed to Tony Khan, who's got a big announcement every other week, right?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about WrestleMania here. The card is coming together. There's obviously a huge match that we're going to get to here after the top line, because we got to focus on the main event, people. We got to give it the respect and the gravity it deserves. We're going to lead off with Roman and Brock. The news around their match is it's officially now listed as a title unification match, not just a winner takes all, it's a unification match. But the Wrestling Observer also saying that there's still going to be a top champion on each brand once Mania is over. So unified for a night, or a week, I guess. And
do they know what that word means?
They do, right? But you've unified them, and now we're going to split them. I don't know. See, here's my theory of the case. So the more I watch this continues to be a either way type situation for me.
Sure.
Roman wins or Brock wins. I was far more sold on Roman going the distance, but as of late, like, he's become a whinier heel, if that makes sense. And it's just a little change, but I don't know. I get some tingles off that. But if Brock won, like, is USA or Fox gonna be upset if Brock Lesnar walks around for a month, representing both brands? I don't know that it would be an immediate split, or Roman for that matter. I don't think NBC Universal gets upset if Roman comes and does a couple Raw appearances for a couple weeks. I don't know. Does it do anything for you?
I mean, the thing for me is the playbook's already been written for this. They did it with Becky a few years ago. I don't know if you want to call it unified. I know the whole point of this year's WrestleMania is it's winner take all, title unification for everything, all the marbles, stupendously large, whatever, right? But when they did the thing with Becky and Ronda and Charlotte a few years ago, Becky came out, defended both belts for a few weeks, and then eventually dropped one of them and became, I believe it was, I'd have to think of the Raw. She was Raw, and after she dropped the SmackDown belt back, whatever it was, right? But they de-unified them fairly quickly. I would have to imagine that's what you're going to do, unless we're going to have Roman Reigns a dual champion for a year. But damn, that limits your pay-per-view options. I don't think, Nick, they could have Roman Reigns win both belts and then lose one of them cleanly. Like, that can't happen.
Yeah,
it defeats momentum.
Well, and what you just described with Becky, I was like, well, Becky's still hugely over, but she's not Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar. I don't see, coming off of what is supposed to be the most epic collision of the two most immovable objects all of professional wrestling, one of them seemingly picking up a loss to somebody that is not either of them shortly after, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. No.
Yeah.
Unless it's one of them. Unless it's like one of them wins their title back or something.
Right. The other one could win it back. Or I could see Bobby Lashley being the foil. Bobby Lashley or Drew McIntyre being a foil, but only if there was some kind of foul play or interference. But again, Roman Reigns is on this historic title reign. I guess it continues if he loses one of them. It's a weird situation to be in. And I agree with the sentiment, right? You need to have a top champion on both shows. Roman Reigns doing his shtick 24/7 all over WWE television is going to get real old real fast. But I think maybe there's more juice in having Roman Reigns on every marquee. I don't know.
All right. Let's get to the other big buzzy thing, the biggest, buzziest thing, arguably, of the entire weekend. It's time. You're all tuned in. Tell a friend. Pat McAfee rumors. So, very interesting turn of events here. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, he's going to be on the Pat McAfee show this Thursday. Adam Cole, who feuded with McAfee in NXT, he then dared McAfee to invite him on his dumb show via Twitter. Quote. So, post-wrestling, spilling the beans, saying Vince McMahon is scheduled to begin a program with SmackDown commentator Pat McAfee soon, and that feud will include WrestleMania 38. Multiple sources have stated that McAfee and McMahon are planned for the show. A source close to the situation was asked if McMahon and McAfee will be billed as an official match on the WrestleMania 38 card. They responded, most likely. Wrestling Observer saying, although the 76-year-old chairman will be advertised for a match at the Showcase of the Immortals, he is not expected to take any bumps in what will be a, quote, complete smoke and mirrors match, end quote, with McMahon unlikely to take any bumps in the match with McAfee. There is speculation among fans on social media that Austin Theory could maybe be the one to wrestle in Vince McMahon's behalf. But, I mean, is Dave knows that when he says smoke and mirrors match, like you were singing the song earlier, Michael,
sure. But Dave Meltzer is a slightly different kind of guy. Like, he's oddly serious about some things when you meet him and a little bit quirky, right? So maybe this one just went right over his head, right? I don't know.
It is old. It's just an old Carney term. I got it. Okay.
Sure. So the weirder thing for me is we're looking at this WrestleMania card talking about, well, we might have Austin versus Kevin Owens, and now they're going to add Vince McMahon possibly versus Pat here, right? And we're gonna, but I mean, all these things are so weird. The Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar story, they're going to unify the titles, but how do they do that long term? This card is feeling real bizarre to me. It's kind of like you're getting lots of names out there, but what is the storytelling juice here? And I agree, you can't. Vince McMahon, I mean, he did jump off that giant thing a couple of years ago to prove how, Gronk, you got to do it like this, pal, and whatever, right? So he's still a tough SOB, but he's not going to take a bump at 76, right? So,
yeah, and look, Antonio Garcia here, that's what Austin Theory's for, headlocked heel. I could see Theory taking Vince's place. You got to remember, Vince's WrestleMania matches are notoriously super screwy. WrestleMania 17, was it 17 with Linda or 18?
It was 17. No. It was 18.
Where she stood up and kicked him and everybody popped, right?
Yep. And then he did the Bret Hart match, like, I don't know, whatever it was.
That was every member of the Hart family got to hit him, right? Yeah. You remember the match with Shawn Michaels?
Yep.
All the Spirit Squad coming out there, right? Shenanigans. Look, Vince can fight. He could get all puff-chested, and he could say he's going to fight Pat McAfee in a street fight, and he can show up in his do-rag and black sweater and black jeans, right? And swing his arms, and he's got his kendo stick, and the Theory hits the ring. And Vince can fight him alongside Theory. That's kind of what Vince does,
But like, I imagine what's going to happen is they're going to tease this match, and Vince is not actually going to announce it in advance. He's going to have Austin Theory go out there. So again, this card is like such a weird card to me. Like, Ronda Rousey is a weird experiment right now. Her promos are not that great. The fans have not connected with her. You have this match. You have a rumored Austin KO match, maybe. Like, I just feel like this year's WrestleMania is just...
That's because, like, the biggest stuff that people, like hardcore fans, are very excited about for the show is not even, like, announced, right? Like, the stuff that is announced, like, is, like, the regular WWE wrestling stuff, like matches. Here's people that have been feuding all year. Here's the matches we've been building to, blah, 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 right? All the stuff that you are really genuinely excited about, the stuff you've been reading rumors about, none of that's for sure. Cody's not there. Steve's not there.
Yep.
That and that's the reason I threw in this. Shane McMahon, he went to Madison Square Garden, posed in front of a photo of Hulk Hogan. He was like, "You got one more in you?" And I was like, "Sure, that makes as much sense as anything else, right? At this point, why not?"
Well, sure, let's do it. Hogan can come back for one more match. This is the way WWE book shows. And like, I look at this card and I'm like, okay, Roman Brock, let's do this, right? We're going to have Bianca versus Becky Lynch. Let's do that. Those two matches feel really important to me because of the stories they've told there. But everything else is to draw back in the casual fans to tune into the live special event, not pay-per-view on Peacock, whatever they want to call it. It's all about putting names on the marquee. But going back to the Cody Rhodes story from earlier, maybe this is why you put Cody on this card, because you know it will draw in a more hardcore wrestling fan who does watch AEW.
Yeah. Dino Garofalo here saying Vince could call out Pat for being unprofessional and biased on his commentating for Shinsuke, or he could say that he didn't give him permission to interview Brock. My theory of the case, Vince heard about Pat's like $35 million deal with DraftKings and doesn't like the new rich. And he has an issue. Oh, you think you're so big? Oh, you got your $35 million DraftKings deal. I wipe my ass with $35 million DraftKings deals, you know?
Or maybe the egg comes back, right? Like that's a lingering storyline that
the egg.
It's worth $1 billion or whatever, right?
Oh my God. Well, and on top of that, because speculation is running wild now, especially with Cody maybe in the mix, people are saying, well, what's going on?
No. Running wild with Hulk Hogan in the mix. You got it. That was close.
Sorry. Hogan's running wild. Cody is smoking mirrors. And everyone's like, well, Cody's going to be back. All these big names are coming back. What about Triple H? Where's Triple H? Well, the Observer's saying there's no way Triple H wrestles this year. Meltzer was like, the man just had surgery, cardiac, genetic issue. Not to say he won't maybe ever wrestle again, right? He did not say he won't ever wrestle again, but not this year. But a bad idea, Dave said. Yeah. So Triple H out. Another match looks like we could be getting here. According to PWInsider.com, this match is happening. Won't be made a multi-man match. It's just going to be straight up for the women's tag titles. A newly teamed Sasha Banks and Naomi going up against Queen Zelina and Carmella, seemingly having a nice big positive moment there for everybody where Sasha and Naomi take these titles.
I'm happy about that. I'm happy they're doing a 2-on-2 match. I'm happy they have big names in there. I mean, Sasha Banks, Naomi have like been mainstays in that division for years and years and years, right? Super talented all the way around here. Queen Zelina, I'm glad she's going to get her WrestleMania match. She is the queen of the ring. And of course, Carmella's been over there banging it on SmackDown for a long time. So I like this. And more importantly to me, they do these multi-women or multi-men matches. And it just like, what's the point? We're not going to tell a story. We just want to get more names on the card because we have them on the roster. I hope they continue to tell a good story with these two teams and spotlight these tag team titles as more than just whatever, they're a prop pal, right? Kind of thing. So
yeah, for sure. And Carmella, I guess, she's part of the new Corey Carmella project,
sure.
which debuted today. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet personally. I did run a post with some of Corey's comments earlier, where he said that he wanted to recreate Edge and Lita's, he wanted to succeed where Edge and Lita failed and have a live sex celebration with Carmella in WWE. I somehow knew that post was going to do really, really well, and guess what? It did. So another win.
Is there ever a world, Nick, where I thought the show came on after Raw tonight?
I saw episode 1 up on the YouTube channel here earlier today.
Is there ever a scenario where, since we're going to have the swerve with Austin Theories, right? Vince McMahon is going to pull on Austin Theory. Does Pat McAfee, does he pull on Corey Graves for his return to the ring?
Oh, maybe. Sure. Tag him up. That's okay. I'd like that. I mean, there's a real energy there around Corey right now. I had heard, that Vince was not really high on transitioning Corey into the wrestler role. I think he really kind of likes him where he's at right now. But there seems to be some buzz around Corey wrestling again right now. So I don't count it out. I think it still could very much happen. Who knows? So
you don't have to use him in a full-time position wrestling. He can just be kind of a part-time wrestler, full-time commentator.
Hey, for my money, and I talked about it on Friday, McAfee, Corey Graves, straight up, that's the feud for me, but I wait till Survivor Series. I have announcer versus announcer representing the brand in like a kind of a novelty match there. And I think it would really pop in that environment.
They could recruit. I like that plan. It gives more purpose behind the Survivor Series.
Yeah. Corey's like, I'm going to win it for us, guys. I promise I'm not just a talker. This guy, what did you do? Punt?
The one night a year, SmackDown versus Raw. One night a year, Nick.
All right. Lastly here, WrestleMania news-wise. Well, actually, I guess we got like 1.5 WrestleMania items here. Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title seems likely for WrestleMania at this point. I'll put it that way. Unless Knoxville like recruits Ricochet, who was in this segment or this like kind of pool. But it looks like it's going to be Knoxville Zayn. If you didn't watch SmackDown, Sami Zayn continues to be the best thing on SmackDown. I can't stress enough how played out the Roman stuff is for me right now. As fun as it was to watch Brock annihilate guys getting paid $500 a pop for their night. Good for them. Johnny Knoxville took this haluva kick twice. The first one grazed Knoxville. The second one leveled this guy. And he had like a brain hemorrhage or something making the last Jackass movie because the bull nearly died because he like got flipped upside down by the bull and dropped on his head. And what an idiot.
I didn't know this. Okay. Wild.
Look it up. Yeah.
I will have to. That's crazy. You know what? This is the thing about it, right? WWE Sports Entertainment. It is a variety show, right? We get really caught up in the day-to-day, like, gotta have my major marquee matches for my pro wrestlers, right? But what I love about this is you have a hell of a good, pun intended, pro wrestler here, Sami Zayn, one of the best, who can tone up and just really turn it to 11, that entertainment factor, and sell a match with Johnny Knoxville. Who gives a crap about Johnny Knoxville wrestling? Well, we all do right now because you got Sami Zayn in the mix, and it's incredible.
Yeah, I love it. I'm a big fan. All right, lastly here, WrestleMania weekend, we're going to get the Hall of Fame. Despite characters like Bully Ray and Booker T advocating for Undertaker to be the only Hall of Fame inductee this year in Texas, WrestleVote saying not the case. There does appear to be more Hall of Fame inductees that are going to be announced for this year. Didn't The Miz already announce he was going in? Was that a joke? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think it was a joke. But like more like why would we've never only done a class of one that I can remember, right? Or like a limited class. WWE sells this event. They wanted to have lots of names in there. I understand everybody's like, oh, Taker's the greatest of all time and he deserves this. But yeah, that was never going to happen with Vince McMahon's money.
All right. Well, Michael, I want to thank you for joining me at the top show, talk all the news today. Thank you to everybody who's jumped into the comment section. You're all wonderful. We got a little bit more to go here in the mailbag segment here today. No interview here today on the show. We got, I'll say for this, Tony Khan is going to be doing a media scrum on Wednesday. So we'll have that for you on Wednesday's show. And then I have another approved AEW interview that I don't have nailed down yet, but I'm told will be nailed down here very soon. And we'll bring that to you there this week too. So little updates on that.
Look at that.
All right. At Wink Daily, WINC Daily. That's the account to follow if you want to vote in our daily poll. Today's poll question stems from a PW Insider report that says Vince McMahon is looking to give Ricochet a big push over on SmackDown. And the reason is because when you look at the internal rosters for each brand, Ricochet is currently listed as the number 2 babyface behind Drew McIntyre. And you might say, Big E's on SmackDown. Shinsuke Nakamura's on SmackDown. Well, guess what? Vince McMahon currently views them as tag team competitors. So they are not above Ricochet in the singles babyface pecking order. Michael?
You mean this guy who everybody loved recently won your world championship, not a contender?
He's below Ricochet or not, like, I shouldn't even say below. They're in different columns. Like, he's not even in the singles babyface column right now. Ugh.
Can we just talk about how would you have a roster that's lacking in depth and you tie up 2 of your former world champions and a tag team that's not even like, they don't even call themselves the same name that they used to call themselves just 2 months ago? What kind of bizarro world? It's just a strange time to be a pro wrestling fan.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I asked everybody with Ricochet's big push, who do you think he should feud with and then wrestle at WrestleMania from the SmackDown roster? And then I went to the SmackDown roster page and was very surprised by how stripped down that roster is at the moment. There is only a couple dozen people at best listed for SmackDown. I was like having to go to tag teams. So maybe he feuds with and wrestles either Nakamura or Booge. Maybe he wrestles Ridge Holland and or Sheamus, or Jinder Mahal is technically on SmackDown, I guess, right now. And he was listed, so he made the poll, and that's it. And then I had the other section, so you could write in some of your own stuff. So with about 60 votes here today, 44.4%, some kind of Nakamura Booge feud, 27.8 Ridge Holland Sheamus, 14.8 Jinder Mahal, and 13% for everybody else. What do you do? You want to give Ricochet the big push on SmackDown? I don't care about the poll. You thought, how do you do it? What do you do?
Man, what do we send Veer? Right, we've had Veer going
Brian Bills 17. Right, send Veer. Oh.
After weeks, months of buildup, he shows up on SmackDown, not Raw. That's it. Ricochet, boom. I mean, you'd have to squash Ricochet, but I don't know. Listen. This company, how do you build a star in modern WWE? I don't really know because it's like Cesaro, right? They did a great job a year ago getting Cesaro from, I mean, a few spots above Ricochet is right now, but they put Cesaro in that main event spot. He went up against Seth Rollins at Mania and won. He went up against Roman Reigns in a great contest. And then 2 months later, he was forgotten about. So you can do it on a short-term basis, but you've got to have some follow through past an initial marquee match you give them. So yeah, your guess is as good as mine, man.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to end the show here today. What a wild ride it has been. It's going to be bumpier day by day as we get close to WrestleMania. So once again, come back here tomorrow. You can also support the show by going to the Wrestling Inc. Daily podcast page, wherever you get it, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever. Go leave a nice note, 5-star ratings. That stuff helps us out a lot. We were the number 53 pro wrestling podcast last week, according to Chartable. I know that we're getting more people listening and tuning in. Let's keep this moving. If you go over and you leave the comment and the rating, we'll break top 50 next week. And who knows, to the moon, possibly here, as they say. We'll
5 stars.
5 stars. Also, sportwrestlinginc.com. We're on all the socials. A reminder that our current at Wrestling Inc. Twitter account is suspended because we were accused of sharing Olympics footage. We did not share Olympics footage. We are working that out. And when it is resolved, we'll go back to that handle. But for now, it's at WrestlingInc.com over on Twitter. That's the account to follow. Hey, that's the world, I guess, right? And then be sure to come back here tonight after Raw for the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Michael, what do you want to put over here to wrap up the show?
Just want to end where we started and just say nothing for me this week other than support those phenomenally tough sons of bitches over in Ukraine. They are fighting for their country, and my thoughts and my heart is with them this week.
Absolutely. Same with me, everybody. Take care out there. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm at Nick_Hausman over on Twitter. And remember, if you winked, you didn't miss it.